When's the bear market going to be over? Oh my God, it's so horrible. That's what everybody seems to be saying right now. I didn't really want to make this video, but this is what everybody's talking about. And I know some of you probably want to hear from me on this subject. And if you're subscribed to the Hard Money Dispatch newsletter, which you should be, link in description, you'll know that back in December, I think it was, I noted that the 100-week simple moving average had been broken on Bitcoin, and that typically signals the beginning of a bear market. And it was going to be jumping back and forth here for a sec, but back in November, December of last year, in this 80 to 94,000 range, that's when that happened. So I just want to go through in this video, go through some mostly things I've been seeing and saying on Twitter, because that's pretty much all that's in my feed the last few days. So here from bitcoinnews.com, have one of these rainbow charts. There's different versions of this, and I mean, it's kind of useful, but also kind of not, because this chart has changed throughout the years. I saw another version on LinkedIn by a guy named Mike Trading, and he said, time to add another color almost to the rainbow chart. Obviously implying that price is going to go lower, and then what you can do then to make the chart still seem valid is just add a purple bar underneath there and problem solved. And that is what happened with a different version of this model up until the 2022 bear market. There was however many colors, and then they just added indigo or purple as another line, and now it still looks like it works. But it is still useful to the extent of, hey, you can kind of see the extent of things, right? So in 2022, I said this just yesterday, the 200-week moving average, which currently sits at around 61,000, it hasn't been broken yet, but it did in 2022. And so this isn't as bad as it looks, but really it is. Anyway, you can read my tweet there. I'm not even going to go through it because, I shouldn't show that. I'm trying to keep this channel safe for work, so I don't want to show that GIF that I made, even though I think it's funny. Of course, less than 24 hours after I posted this, the 200-week SMA was broken, and right now the price is around 60,000. So we'll see if today closes underneath that. I guess it has already in Eastern time. I'm on Mountain time, so it's not midnight yet, but that, I think that counts as a daily close beneath it. If there's a weekly close beneath it, then yeah, all bets are off, but I'll get to that in a second. There's a few other things I want to go through here. This indicator is more useful, I believe. This is posted by CoinDesk just yesterday, showing how more than half of all Bitcoin in circulation is now held at an unrealized loss, and that's happened around every major bear market bottom ever. However, I'd like to point out that that doesn't mean this time is the exact bottom, right? I mean, as you can see here in 2015, we hung out here for like a year almost, at least 9 months. And then in 2019, that was not really a bottom, so that's kind of weird. But then 2020, it did touch. I guess this could be the bottom if it's like 2020, right? We just kind of touch that briefly and then go back up. Then 2022, again, we were there for like six or more months. Another thing, this was just a response I wrote to somebody. Probably going to include something like this in the newsletter. But again, just talking about that 200-week moving average is really the most important level in all of Bitcoin, because it's always been really strong support. It's only been broken a few times. And even in 2022, as I'll show in a second, it only stayed beneath that level for a couple months. And that was a historic buying opportunity. So the main point here is everybody thinks 42,000 is 100% guaranteed, because that would be a 70% drawdown from the peak. And historically, there's been 70, 80, 90% drawdowns. But if that does happen, and I'm not saying it can't, but it would be completely unprecedented for a couple reasons. One, because that's so far beneath the 200-week moving average, and two, the previous cycle high has always served as support roughly for the next cycle's low. And right now for this cycle, that level is 69,000. That was the high back in 2021, and we're already more than 10% beneath that. So it's hard to imagine that there'd be, another 30% to go. That would be wild. I mean, that would be a buying opportunity like has never existed before. And I don't see it happening, but I didn't think the 200-week moving average would break either. Of course, we won't know for another couple weeks for sure. It could just be a temporary wick below it and prices bounce right back, in which case that would have almost certainly been the bottom. But regardless, it's all speculation for now. Like I said, the next few weeks will reveal a lot more. But either way, the next 4 or 5 months are going to continue to be a bear market where it's mostly sideways and downward price action. That much is fairly certain. But even that can change. No one knows that for 100% certainty. Everything can change. The 4-year cycle, yeah, is pretty much playing out like it has in the past so far. But a 50% drawdown is not even that crazy. There was a 50% drawdown in the middle of 2021 before the new all-time high was made in November. There was a 50% drawdown in the middle from 60,000 to 30,000. So I'm not saying that's what's going to repeat necessarily. Just pointing out that this is not as bad as it feels or as everyone seems to be making it out to be. I think maybe because it's just bigger numbers. Everything feels different. I don't know. You tell me. Let me know in the comments. And just to round out this part of the conversation, Adam Livingston here points out some of what I've been talking about, which is just that there's only been 6 times in the past 10 years that Bitcoin's ever gone beneath the 200-week moving average. And every time it was very brief. Here, it barely even happened. Here, barely happened. Right now, it's looking like that could be the case. Let's see, it was 2019, 2020, middle of 2022, and then this is the exception, right? 2022 bear market. There's several months, and then the bottom was well beneath that line. Every other time, though, so far, every other time that's been the best possible buying opportunity that there ever was. So again, I think that just reinforces the point that if we have weekly closes beneath this moving average, then the bottom's probably not in, but it will be closer than ever. And it's only a matter of months away, whether that's 2, 3, 4 months, probably not much longer than that. I think we can say that with pretty high degree of confidence, unless there's some wild black swan that nobody foresees, but you can't really account for those kind of things. So just want to go over to this chart real quick to give a better visual for some of the things I've been saying here. So this line is the previous cycle peak, right? November 2021. That support has been obliterated with this weekly close right here. And you can see it more or less was holding up, and now it's not. So the next level to watch out for is about 52,000. So you can see this has been support going back all the way to 2021, and really since February is the more important part, because that was the first time we broke above that since the last cycle. And if that doesn't hold, then there's really no telling. I mean, the next zone would probably be around here. like 44,000 again, but that would be almost a 70% retracement. It would be so far beneath the 200-week moving average and the previous cycle's high that it would be completely unprecedented, although it's not impossible. And this line is just the oh, what happened to my chart? I was zoomed in a little bit. This was the cycle high from 2017, and you can see that was support for the 2022 bear market. But again, there was just this brief period where the price dipped beneath both that support from the previous cycle and the 200-week moving average. And that happened in early November, and it came to an end in early January. So 2 months. In all of Bitcoin's history, there's never been a period longer than 2 months where price hung out beneath the 200-week moving average. So, yeah, I know a lot of people. Oh, and one other thing is the RSI is very low, which is far less reliable bottom indicator because it can stay down there for quite a long time. But the point is, people always view these things as so catastrophic, and I don't know. I just don't see it that way because, first of all, again, a 50% drop used to happen in a matter of days back when the market cap was in the single digit billions instead of around a trillion. So to me, it doesn't feel that crazy. And second of all, these are the best times to buy if you choose to do so. I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I say is financial advice. But if anyone were looking to create a sizable position in Bitcoin, you get a lot more coins for your dollars right now than you have in quite some time. And it's the best time to start dollar cost averaging. That's what I have recommended to every person I've ever onboarded into Bitcoin. And if you started dollar cost averaging, even at the peak, let's say at 100,000, 120,000, and you kept averaging all the way down here, then by the time the next cycle comes around, you'll be much better off than if you waited to try and time the bottom, and then by the time you do that, the price is already climbing, and every time you buy, you get less Satoshis for your dollars. Whereas, again, when the price is falling, you're always getting more Satoshis for your dollars. So if you have a long-term time frame, then these are the best times for you. And it always feels like the end of the world, and everyone talks about it, and everyone's calling for lower and lower numbers, but this same thing has happened every time. And I'm relatively unfazed by it because I've seen it so many times, right? I remember even way back here, I can't even bring up the chart. I'd have to change the time frames, but yeah, I'm not even going to go back that far, but it happened once back here, and then it happened here in 2017, it happened again 2021, and now it's happening again. It's just bigger numbers, and I think that's what freaks people out. But anyway, that's going to do it for this one. Let me know what you guys think, where the bottom is in, how much lower are we going, when's the bear market going to end. Don't forget to like and subscribe. About 90% of you who watch are still unsubscribed, so hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.